Howdy, boys and girls. Today's show is just going to be me going over a co-living operations app that I built. I have it ready to go for Apple and Android, but I put it into my co-living school community and an ORAC community and put it on Facebook and some other things just to get some feedback because I'm sure there's bugs in there somewhere because it's just me. I just put it together today. So anyway, I'll just go over it briefly. At the very top here, this REI Jared, which I already see a problem. I got to capitalize the R, but this should take me to my YouTube channel. Yay, there it is. And this is just my co-living operator site. So what this site's for is for co-living operators. The main draw is this right here, which is the calculator that I've been working on and off for a while. But this one here, I'll come to it in a second. So I've got at the top here, there's some things that have to be worked out. The co-living calculator, I've got some tips and tricks. And if you're reading this and you don't want to read it all, you can click this button to make it smaller because I know people don't have time, don't want to read. Co-living hardware, here's all the hardware that you'd need to start up a co-living property. Here's how you can contact me, put your name and email and send me something, or you want to chat about a deal or whatnot. And then about takes you to this about page about me, and then contact takes you right back to where it was at. So let me go back to the co-living calculator, actually back to home. So I'll start. Here's this little image here about a little intro here about me, and let's go into the calculator. So this is my main draw here. You can save. You can once you build all this stuff out, you can save the analysis, and this is where your saves go. So you can come back in the future, delete it, or look at it again, or load it again to play with it. So you can compare, like if I do this, you can compare two properties or different things side by side, but I'm going to exit that for now. Self-managing. So if you self-manage, you want to check this. And if you don't, uncheck it. So it's going to change your values. If you're leveraging a property manager, now it's defaulted to 8%. And I don't know if I have an ability to change. Actually, I didn't. So that's the feedback for myself. I should add that to be able to do 10, 12%, depending whatever your property managers. This next section here is for scenarios. So I personally leave it in conservative mode because if I change it to base, it takes a more, I guess, aggressive approach. Oh, lack of a better word than aggressive. Like this is probably not going to happen. I think this assumes pretty much, I don't know, no vacancy or something stupid. Let's go look at the expenses or results, or actually, I'm not sure where that goes. Scenario, here we go. So vacancy rate, let's leave it here, right here, and I'll go through the beginning. So aggressive, let's just start with conservative. So you can see this vacancy rate is 10%. Now, with co-living properties, you really don't have any quote unquote vacancy, right? Because you're running multiple income streams of one property. So for me, I'm running 8-bedroom houses. And when I say vacancy, it's vacancy on the whole house. So if you're thinking it's vacancy for one room, that doesn't apply here more or less. So this assumes like 10% of your overall room vacancy, right? And so I believe I did this. Did I do this on the whole year? I think I did. I don't remember. But anyway, chances are this is probably a little over conservative if you're running a decent co-living property. But anyway, here's the figures. You can go in here and play with these. But let's get back to being conservative is where I'm going to leave it. Let's just go through it real quick. Base, it goes to this base one here, 6%, and then aggressive means you're just rocking and rolling and you don't have any real vacancy. Just to give you an idea, my average turn is under 2 days, so it's like or not under 2 days, around 2 days, 2.3 days to flip a room. I'm all the way from 0.2 all the way up to like 3.2 or something like that. So on average, I'll just say 2. So of the time that I can control, I usually try to flip the room as fast as I can, and then the vacancy includes that piece plus the days on till I get it filled. So anyway, I just figured I'd point that out. All right, so let's get out of this, go back to conservative, and let's go back to the beginning here. So let's go to the rooms. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 8 rooms, but if you're on this, you can uncheck any of these and it removes them from the figures here, and you can change these all you want to whatever amount you want, right? And if you want to do it manually. And I think I added, let's see, let's go into the expenses here. I did not. I thought I added that must have been another fork. Well, I thought I had added a way for the end user to put the default rate in there that they wanted. Maybe I didn't. Let's see here. Is there a way? Well, you can do custom, right? So you can do that. So these are the options you have for your room types. You have standard, a premium large, an ensuite, which you get more for, a flex room. So smaller rooms is typically what I use that for, and then custom. So in some random off the wall stuff if you wanted to put something in there. Great. So I put the standard at $799, just pretty dang conservative because even PadSplit I think I'm getting 864. But just take that with a grain of salt. Whatever market you're in, adjust accordingly. Premium I put $899 by default. So if I go up here, you can see if I switch this to a premium large, it'll change that default value to $899. I'll go ahead and put this back to standard. So anyway, you can see ensuite room I put at $999. I think at my market I can get $1050 or $1100, but again I'm pretty conservative. Plus this scenario here really is conservative, so it's really undercutting, or not really undercutting. It's actually fairly close, but I do that so I'm under and not over, as close as I can get, kind of thing. And the rest is self-explanatory. So if you wanted to uncheck one of these for whatever reason to see what it looks like, there you go. If you wanted to add a room, go ahead and click this button here, but I'm going to leave it at 8, so I'll take this off. Also, if you go in here and say desired room count, if you check this, it'll go ahead and add it and turn it on by default. And by default, it gives you a standard. So I'm going to take that back to 8. You can also go down to 7, which removes one, right? So I'm going to go ahead and add it, and it updates all the figures. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back on. You can see the gross is changing when I do that. And the reason I put the original rooms in here is like if you bought a house with a 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom, whatever it is, you can change it to whatever it is. You can see how the figures change actually on the side here, actually right below it, because I'm doing a rough guesstimate of 5,000 per room. It may be over, maybe under in your market, but that's what it's based on. It's just, this is kind of a really close rough guess because you got to figure, sometimes you have to put AC in the rooms if you don't have vents nearby. You have to do electrical, insulation, obviously the walls, doors, windows, maybe. Sometimes you got to blow out a wall and put a window in. So it's just kind of a nice round number to throw in there because there's too many variables to account for. So you can see the conversion costs with, if I'm adding 4 rooms, because I'm desired 8, if I chop this down, it'd be 15 grand, right? So I'm going to put it at 20 grand. I could say for my properties, I'm probably around 25 grand for adding 4 rooms. And then there's always something like, bathrooms, floors, kitchen, something like that. And then if you're doing heavy kitchen, I've done like a 37K reno, something like that. I redid the whole counters, the floors. Let's see, bathrooms in that one. No. Anyway, it was a pretty decent overhaul, 37 grand. And that's that. So let's say 25 to 30, let's say 25 to 40 grand on average or so. Depending on your market, it may change. I'm going to stop saying that because it's a given, right? Now this is with the 20% down. Like if I go in here to the expense, let's see, where's that at? Oh yeah, right here, 20%. You can change this to dollars if you want. I made that so it shows up down here 90 grand, but if you wanted to put the dollar amount in there for whatever reason, you can. But I'm going to leave it at 20%. It's easier to figure out. Let's say the purchase price was, I don't know, 500,000. You can see it updates here. Nice round number, 100,000. Then the rest of this is self-explanatory. 4 rooms, 5K, it's 20 grand. So the total out of pocket, OOP out of pocket is 120 grand. That's a lot. So if you got a cheaper home, obviously it'd be a little cheaper based on the percentages. So on the right-hand side, you got the room summary. You got 5 standard rooms, 1 premium, 1 ensuite. So if we change this to, let's change the standard to, I don't know, another ensuite. So you can see it updates the room count, blah, blah, blah. Gives you the total rooms, the number occupied. Let's say you had one that was not occupied, it was down for a while, and for whatever reason you wanted to run that, you could. There you go, just an option. Once you get all this set up and you go through all this, you can download this PDF of it so you can keep it, but you can also save it here on the site, back up here where I said, and then you can load it and download it in the future. So you can keep it here if you want. So let's go into the expenses, right? Let's go down. Did I miss anything? Oh, this gives you kind of a rough layout of if you had a conservative, this is what you're looking at, a 14% cash on cash return, which is amazing considering, you're putting 120 grand invested, right? But let's go to expenses. So in expenses, this mortgage is just the principal and interest, $2,600 based on the 500, is it 500? Yeah, 500,000. And obviously, your closing costs and different things could affect this or your area. So this is a rough guesstimate on that. Property taxes. So I'm in Phoenix, and so I'm putting in 200. I know property taxes in other places like Texas, Oregon, different places it's expensive. So go ahead and adjust accordingly. And then your insurance, again, all of this adjust accordingly. These are all just figures. Now this is what I pay on average through the Phoenix Metro because of AC costs, electricity is pretty expensive. Internet, 120 is about average in my area. Supplies, I just put 50. I think I'm 47 or something like that. Repairs and maintenance, this is just a percentage of the, and I forget the percentage. I think it's 2.5%. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, it's a percentage of the gross income, and then other. If you want to add something in here, like maybe you have a lease on solar or something like that. So whatever, just throw that in there and add it all together. So now down at the bottom, this is percent of gross rents. This is the capex, right? I know some people, if you have a newer home, you'll probably have 2. But if you have a little bit older home, 5 is probably a good number. If you got a really old home, maybe 10 or 15%, who knows? So your mileage may vary. And on the right hand side gives you a little graph and the little numbers if you click on here, what you're looking at. Obviously, you've got the data here, so you don't really need to do all that. This is just a graphic representation of what it'd be. All right, so your base expense every month is 4,500, let's say. Your capex, this, and then your total monthly expense is 5,240. Woo! So your monthly cash flow is not very much in a co-living house, 692. So in this house, you might want to, maybe your capex isn't that high, but I would probably do, let's see, let's go back to the rooms real quick. I take a good hard look at this. Like I probably wouldn't have a flex room, but depending on the size of the house, adjust accordingly. But anyway, it just gives you a rough guesstimate. And now this is annualized, assuming maybe you don't use that capex, and maybe it'll be higher. And so your cash on cash is 8.3% conservative. Now you could run it at base. This probably could be in different markets about right, but I'm just going to stick it on conservative. I like to be, what's the old saying? Under promise and over deliver. I like that. I like to be pleasantly surprised every month rather than the other way around. And then when something does happen, like, oh, I don't know, in Arizona, you don't think about floods, but we had a kitchen flood. We got, I think, what was it 3 inches in 20 minutes, and the kitchen flooded. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And that year on my Kathleen house, I had, all kinds of stuff. We had windows and flood, and we had hot water heater replacement and leaks and yada yada. So it happens. It's part of the game, right? So you got to be prepared for that. And so that's why CapEx is important. Now, I don't run a CapEx like this, but I know most people do, so I put it in the utility. I have a separate account that's already funded, so I'm good there, but I put it in here for the calculator for GP, general purposes. All right, so let's go on to the expenses again. I think we ran through that. I'll get to the blueprint in a second, and I'll go to the results. So this kind of gives you a high-level overview of what you're looking at, right? Your P&L, your monthly P&L, right? So you're looking at gross 6,800 minus the vacancy. Obviously if you're doing better than this, which I think you could probably do better than 10%, year round. So this again is conservative. And your credit loss, this is another thing. I do use Front Lobby for collections, and it's doing okay. It's worth it because it's a flat fee. I don't pay a percentage. Now you can pay a percentage if you want, but I pay the flat fee. I think it's 199 bucks, and if you join their thing or whatever, I think it's 99 bucks. And you can use 10 or 20 or whatever it is at a time, or up to whatever. Anyway, it's one of those that you don't have to pay a percentage. So I thought, and it's easy to use, and I like it, and it's been effective. So okay, so here's what we're looking at. Just the breakdown of your net monthly. And again, this is pretty conservative. So these numbers, you could probably hit $1,000, I'm guessing, depending on if you're a decent operator. And then, of course, your what you mentioned, but I mentioned before in the front page, the estimate for the upfront conversion costs. And you probably pay a little bit more than this, not because you're going to have some other stuff in there that you're going to have to fix, maybe some bathroom stuff or kitchen or paint or whatever. And what I didn't include in here is I like to replace all the appliances. So that is something I'm just going to leave up to whoever, the appliances will be your purchase. Oh, quick tip. One of my agents, I have my AI tools. I have a CEO and all these things. I have a tax agent, and I have my tax agent run through my portfolio and my taxes and everything, and found something, which is interesting. And I got to talk to my EA about this, but my bonus depreciation, my cost seg, claim the appliances, and then for that house I'd purchased appliances. So it's possible I double dipped, although the cost seg doesn't actually spell out the appliances per se. I use DIY cost seg, and so it does an average, but it's a possible audit. So anyway, tip for you there. Make sure you're not double dipping if you are. All right, let's see what else I got in here. Yeah, bedroom count comparison. So if I had a 6-bed, this is what my expected return would be, a whopping 128 bucks. And a 7-bedroom, it looks like, 7 beds, we're looking at a 539, and then 8 is 1207. So now this is, what is this? I don't know why that's 1207. I'm going to have to look at that because I'm on bedroom count comparisons. I don't know why it's doing that. So this is part of the reason I wanted to do this. I wanted to run through everything and catch stuff. So this one, oh, actually, wait a minute. I see. No, I don't see. Cash flow, 1207. Why is it 1207? This is 539. I wonder if this is like a net monthly average cash flow of all these. Okay, so I got some work to do. There's something here that's not quite right, but then again, this is just in the results section. So, huh. Okay. Alrighty. Well, that is what it is. So we'll fix that later. Okay, so now let's go to the scenarios so you can see what the different scenario. Oh, you know what? I know why. This is self-managed, right? So that goes up to 1281 if you're self-managed. Okay, so I found the problem. Oh no, I didn't, because now it's up to 1796. All right, well, I'll go ahead and uncheck this and I'll figure that out later. Cool. Bug number 1 or 2. Okay, and this is my little estimate deal looks solid. Now I like to get above $1,000 net. That makes it worth it for the hassle that you may have if you're running a co-living property, right? Multiple people in a house that don't know each other. Potentially, you're going to have some issues, right? So that's why I try to mitigate as best I can. And I do have an SOP for some of this stuff, but not here. I have it in my Skool community. Actually, that's what I should do. I should put my Skool community link in this tool. There you go. Another thing I need to add. All right, let's move on. Scenarios. Let's go over here. So these are the different scenarios. Conservative, we kind of touched on this earlier. And then your base rate, and then aggressive, right? So I don't think I'd ever use aggressive. Base, maybe if you're a decent operator and you've been around a while, you can probably, and you have a newer home, I'd probably, nah, you could run this because you have a cushion for if you're a decent operator and you have a newer home for less capex. So anyway, that's the kind of breakdown. Oh, it's monthly cash flow by scenario. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't actually see this before. Yeah, it'd be nice if you were running aggressive, but you're not really going to get that. So 1800's probably 1500's probably about right. My lowest performers down in the 1200s, but it's 1500 net usually. My best is 3K net, and it's fantastic, but I wouldn't count on that all the time. All right, so now let's see. Did we cover everything in the scenarios? We did. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go back up to the top. I'm going to go back to the rooms, and I'm going to show something I did here because sometimes you want to do compare properties. So I'm going to go ahead and click self-manage, and I'm going to pay attention to the self-manage. As soon as I hit this, it goes away. So what you're doing here is you want to, if you want to self-manage on one and not on another, then you can do that here. So I'm going to take the self-managed off on this side, and let's see what it does. So where's the numbers at? It should have been on top. Well, let's do conservative on this one. Let's do conservative on this one. Oh, here we go, right here. I changed it to the dark mode and I didn't see it there. So let's go to the expenses real quick and let's do self-manage. Wait, no, let's look at results. Okay, there it is. Annual cash flow if you're self-managing and annual cash flow if you're not. Now this is conservative. $4,500, 20% down, 4.8 converted costs. This looks a little, no, this is about right. Okay. Let's go to rooms. Are these all? Oh, that's why the rooms are not turned on. It's another thing I need to do. I need to turn the rooms on by default inside the compare. So just that's a gotcha there. I'll have to go update that as well. I should have been taking notes, but I'll go back and watch my own video so I can capture notes. Actually, what I'll do is I'll go through the syntax of this thing. All right, so let's see what we're doing now. We're at self-manage on this one and not on this one. So on this side, let's go to results. Let's go to results. So why is this not working here? What did I do? Expenses are the same. Rooms are turned on. What am I doing here, guys? Probably jumping right out at you. So this is all good. Oh, you know what else is not in here? The CapEx is not in here because it's only in the main one. Okay, so I do have some work to do here. That sucks. Well, and there's also something else weird going on here. These guys are, yeah, they're all updated. So yeah, the comparison side by side has got some issues, guys. But that's while I'm doing this. Okay, great. And let's go ahead. Okay, so I'll dig into this later. Looks like this is kind of jacked up. The results should update. I'm kind of curious now. So it does update, but total expenses 120. So I guess that's right, but there's something's wrong here. All right, well, I'll get to this later. Let's go ahead and move on. So anyway, you have that ability, but I definitely have to fix it, right? So I'm going to click off this. Just know that it goes away. So let's go down here to the next section here, the blueprint. So now in here, these are just, now these are my feelings, thoughts, whatever you want to call them with. I'm probably a little bit more aggressive with certain things than others, but I do that because I can't afford to have people in the house that cause other people to move out, especially if those people are longer term members, right? You don't want to lose a longer term member because that hurts. It's really hard to get those members back once you lose them. Okay, so I'll just kind of go through the top one here. This is kind of, I just kind of use this because people know universities and hospitals and businesses and around the area. So try to find, you don't want to be in a rural area and try to run a co-living house, say 8 bedrooms with nobody around. People, like Ken McElroy says, real estate doesn't work without people. So you got to have people, and usually you want to see in your market an inflow of people, right? So, but if you don't want to read all this, I get it. The tips here, just click the quick read and then it'll give you the bullet points, right? So I'm going to assume that people are going to like that. So, I left it off so you'd see it first time and then you can read it if you want and then do this. So me, the magic number is 8. Your mileage may vary, but that's what I did. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'll let you read at your leisure. But this is just some stuff I wanted to throw in here for like a blueprint or text tips and tricks. And I have some other stuff too. While I'm doing this video, I'm going to go ahead and share my, my YouTube channel, obviously, because you're watching it. But the Skool community is, actually, I need to switch gears real quick to go get that. Bear with me a quick second. Sorry, this isn't Skool. There we go. Whoops. And let's go here, go here. I'm going to grab this wonderful, not custom URL here, but that's okay. We're not fancy. No, actually, I'm going to put it right in here. There you go. All right. So this is the Rent by Room Skool community that I run, and I'll link this in this thing once I get it up and debugged and some other things there. I just put it out there as a beta test for people. I just built it today, and obviously I found some problems myself. But skool.com, spelled skool.com/rent-by-room, which happens to be the same co-living URL, not a dash, but rentbyroom.app. And there you go. So let's go on down to co-living products I use in every house. So what I did was I spent about 8 months in Phoenix and I bought all the products I thought would work. I bought, I don't know, 6 or 7 thermostats, I think 4 or 5 different smart locks, and anyway, blah, 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 blah. With the cameras though, I bought, I think, just 3, and I ended up using the Wise cameras, Sifely locks, and the Sensi thermostat. So those are in here. Let's actually go find the Sensi thermostat now that I'm talking about it. Here we smart thermostat, right? So here it is. So if you wanted to buy, what do I buy? This is it. And yes, these are affiliate links, so it doesn't cost you a dime, but I think it's a couple pennies towards me. Yay, something like that. So this tool is free. So this is the only potential revenue thing on this site. I just like to get stuff out there, and I figure it doesn't cost anybody anything, so what the hell. All right, so these are all just stuff. If you want to buy what I buy, there you go. And there's one thing on here that I actually, it's on here, and if you need to, this is okay. But it's the mattress. Where the hell is the mattress? So in my market, I can get real mattresses for 110 or 100 for fulls and 120 for queens delivered. So where is the mattress? Anyway, the mattress I have on here, or do I even have it in here? Mattress, yeah, here it is. This is something if you can't get something local. They're kind of actually expensive. There's cheaper ones on there. The only reason I put this here because this is the one I used, and they were good for about a year and a half, and then they do start to, they start to wear. So they're actually I just convinced myself I'm going to take this off. So out of all those products, this is the one I actually don't recommend. And you can go on and use this to search for other these things come in these shrink wrap things, and so they're delivered. So if you're in a pinch, okay, they'll work, but I think you could spend your money. You can probably save about $50 per mattress and get something else, right? If you go find something else. Like these here are probably better, but I didn't test them, so I can't put my name on it. But these look like better mattresses. They're $139. So anyway, mileage may vary. So let's go back to the good old app, and let's scroll down to the bottom. So now if you wanted to get in touch, whoa, dog's barking. If you wanted to get in touch with me, you can put your name, your email address, and then a little bit about yourself or whatever your project is. I do have a Calendly also. Maybe I should put my Calendly on here. If you want the Calendly on here, leave a comment down below and let me know. These links down here are all active except for this one here. This video doesn't do anything. So I took off the videos I had on there. I'll work on that. So still kind of, I don't know, in the works, but I wanted to just kind of do a quick overview. Oh, look at this. We've got 216 views on this thing already. Cool. So a good 50 of these is probably me going back and forth editing this thing. But anyway, that's the tool. It's rentbyroom.app, so rentbyroom.app. I did buy, I think, 5 or 6 of those, like rentbyroom.org and all that, but I don't think I mapped into this thing yet. But anyway, that's it. So if you do the like and subscribe and all that wonderful stuff, yay. But if you got any comments or any feedback on this thing other than what I've already caught myself, please let me know. Put them in the comments, and I will do my best to fix them. Thanks. Have a good one.